Mary of the etheric realms. What could it be that the bars of this metaphorical prison are made of? And what if these so-called bars are something that we just came up with to limit ourselves, like we do with insurance companies, for example? It has been debated in the church for millennia whether or not evil exists. The argument, of course, being that evil is just the absence of God. But this is weird considering that a God would be omnipresent in all things. So really, just like any other, the word evil is just a mouth noise that we use to point in a particular direction. And well, it's a fantastic word with strength behind it. Calling an insurance company bad doesn't quite cut it, considering that it is illegal not to have insurance, yet the insurance companies are part of the few that create that very law. They make it illegal for you not to pay them your hard-earned money, yet when it comes time to provide a service for us, they simply don't have to. They simply change the law to make it so that they don't. This is, by definition, evil. I would like to break down the Apocrypha of John in this video, as I think there are quite a few parallels to today's understandings of quantum physics and the messy nature of reality. And leave the Gospel of Thomas alone for now, because I have that one planned for a future video in comparison to the Tao of Physics. But for a moment, let's just talk a bit about the Gospel of Mary, which by loose definition, not a Gnostic gospel, as it wasn't found in Nag Hammadi with the others, but it's definitely worth mentioning here. First of all, there is no evidence in the Gnostic Gospels or in the main canonical Bible that Mary Magdalene was a prostitute. That accusation just never existed until Pope Gregory in the 6th century insisted upon it as head of the Catholic Church. Fucking Greg. The Catholic Church in general is guilty of not only the thing that you're thinking of right now, but also of changing the Bible at their will, in the same way that the insurance companies change the law. They have done it in order to maintain and provide sustenance to their own power. They seem to feed on the faithful in the most sinister way possible. This is an archetype for archons if I've ever heard it. But this calling Mary a prostitute was intended to objectify women as submissive to men, and well, leave it to some old, pale, angry, unlaid dudes with shriveled up to take all the juice out of the most sacred of teachings. Back in the day, however, women were considered to be highly mystical and even psychic. They were known to have intuition very superior to that of men. I don't mean this in a pandering way. Women were considered to be different than men, for sure. Not equal, but superior in particular portions of the right brain intellect. So it is no surprise that when Jesus told the disciples to go forward and spread the gospel, or good news, so to speak, the disciples exploded in fear, thinking that they would also be tortured in front of a live audience like their main man did. All of them except for Mary Magdalene, who understood soundly that this physical body was not only temporary, but entirely not real whatsoever, lining up quite strikingly with the rest of the message in the Gnostic Gospels. It is said within the text that Jesus seemed to find Mary to understand the gnosis of his teaching above all. When asked about this, Jesus responded likewise with a parable. He said, "When a blind man and one who sees are together in darkness, they are no different from one another. When the light comes, then he who sees will see the light, and he who is blind will remain in darkness." And I mean, damn, what a one-liner. Old JC was straight spitting. Son, when angels would appear to mortals in the Bible, it was very common for them to exclaim, "Be not afraid," because their very presence alone would make a motherfucker just pass out or go insane like some Lovecraft shit. This has caused an entire drift of memes online named after biblically accurate angels, which of course differ greatly from how they were personified in medieval art, like as babies and shit with wings. They didn't look like that. That makes it very interesting considering Mary Magdalene was actually able to handle the visions given to her unwaveringly. Now, it shouldn't, but it kind of reminds me of Betty and Barney Hill struggling with what was happening to them. Betty was aloof, kind of walking around the ship getting a tour, and you know, the famous star map was shown to her. That is just, well, I'm not gonna say it's funny, but it's funny. Speaking of the Vatican making changes to the Bible, which is strictly forbidden according to the Bible, it actually seems as if there was also never a hell. There were certainly consequences to a person's spirit depending on how they lived their human life in a myriad of different ways, but the whole eternal pit of hellfire thing, well, it was just never there. And to be honest, it wouldn't make much sense anyway. This is just something that those who see themselves in control have made up in order to maintain their own systems of control.